Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping back into the world of Mulla Sadra and his school of transcendent wisdom, Hikmat al-Muta'aliyah. This is episode 7 in our 14-part series, Wisdom Unveiled.
And as always, just a quick note before we start, we're working primarily from translations and interpretations of conversations involving figures like Dr. Dinani and Dr. Larijani.
Right. It's complex stuff originally discussed in a different philosophical context.
Exactly. So some nuances might inevitably get a bit lost in translation. We appreciate your understanding if there are any small discrepancies.
Absolutely. So today's focus is, well, it's a real head-scratcher at the heart of Sadra's path for the seeker. He insists you need profound self-knowledge, really understand yourself deeply, but then, almost in the same breath, he says you have to completely annihilate that fana, he calls it, to reach the absolute.
It sounds like a complete contradiction, doesn't it? Know yourself, then destroy
It
yourself.
really does, like some kind of philosophical catch-22. How does he even begin to resolve that?
Well, what's so interesting about Sadra is that he doesn't tackle the self head-on first. Instead, he kind of zooms out. He says, before we can understand the self, or self-annihilation, we need to fundamentally rethink what existence even means.
Okay, so starting right at the foundation. Section 1, then, existence itself. What's Sadra's big move here?
His foundational distinction is between Wujud existence, with a capital E, and Majud existent things.
Wujud. So it's not a being, but...
Being itself.
Precisely. Wujud is the absolute, singular, underlying reality. It's not something you can point at like a chair or a star. It just is.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Always. Unbounded.
And Majud, or Majudat plural.
Those are the things in existence. You, me, the chair, the star, all the individual, limited condition things we perceive.
Oh, okay. So they exist, but they're not existence itself. They participate in it somehow.
Exactly. They depend entirely on Wujud. Their existence is borrowed, you could say. They are limited manifestations of that unlimited reality. So Sadra seems to be saying our usual way of looking at the world, focusing just on these majudat, counting them, categorizing them,
is a fundamental error.
Yeah.
We get lost in the details, the limited things, and we mistake them for the whole picture, for ultimate reality.
And if our focus is only on limited things, our knowledge itself must be limited.
That's the crux of it. And it
Yeah.
leads straight to a problem. How can we, as limited Majudat, ever hope to know the unlimited, all-encompassing Wujud?
Right. You can't exactly step outside of existence to get a good look at it. You're already swimming in it.
You are. So this brings us to section 2. How we know things, especially the absolute. Sadra talks about 2 kinds of knowledge.
Okay, what are they?
First, there's what he calls ilm huzuli. This is acquired knowledge or conceptual knowledge. It's knowledge about things.
Like reading a book about physics or learning facts about chocolate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Necessary for navigating the world of Majudat, the world of things. But like you said, you can't put Wujud in a conceptual box. It's too big, too fundamental.
So conceptual knowledge won't get us to the absolute. What's the other kind?
The other kind is ilm huduri presence knowledge. This is direct, immediate, unmediated awareness.
Not knowing about the chocolate, but actually tasting it.
Perfect analogy. It's the direct experience. And Sadra argues this is the only way to know the absolute, Wujud, through direct presence.
But how does my very limited self get access to that kind of direct presence of something infinite? It still feels like a leap.
The bridge, according to Sadra, is something really unique to us humans. Self-awareness. Knowing that you know. He sometimes calls it ilm murakab, compound knowledge.
So the simple act of reflecting on my own consciousness, the awareness that I am the one thinking this thought or seeing this color.
Yes, that very awareness that I am aware realization gives you immediate ilm huduri presence knowledge of your own existence. You directly taste your own beingness.
Okay, I feel my own existence directly. How does that connect me to the big E's existence, the Wujud?
Because that individual awareness, that spark of I am, isn't separate. Sadra says it's directly connected to, or maybe even a ripple in, the universal source. He calls this source Wujud Mumbasit, or expanded existence.
Expanded existence.
Or sometimes, beautifully, Nafs al-Rahman, the breath of the merciful.
Ah, the breath analogy again. That helps. Like, the specific words I speak are limited. They're majudat.
Right.
But the breath itself, the Nafs al-Rahman, that allows the words to even happen. That's like the formless, necessary Wujud.
You've got it. Our individual awareness is like a word spoken on that universal breath. Dependent on it. Inseparable from it, really.
This is really reframing things.
Yeah.
Which leads us, I suppose, into section 3 and maybe Sadra's most revolutionary idea, the body-soul problem.
Definitely one of his most impactful contributions.
Because if my self-awareness is this direct link to boundless reality, why am I, stuck in this very limited physical body? Philosophers before Sadra really struggled with this, didn't they? Avicenna, Descartes.
They absolutely did. Avicenna imagined the soul as this sort of pre-existing spiritual dove that comes from somewhere else and attaches itself to the body when it's ready. Descartes started purely from thought, the cogito, and then had a hard time connecting that thinking substance to physical substance.
The classic dualism problem.
Yeah.
How do mind and matter, two totally different kinds of things, even interact?
That was the intractable problem for centuries. How do substances from different genres, as they put it, connect? Sadra looks at this and says, basically, you're asking the wrong question because you started with the wrong premise, the premise that they are fundamentally separate things to begin with.
So he throws out the spiritual dove idea entirely. The soul doesn't come from outside.
Completely. His answer is rooted in his concept of Harakat, al-Jawhariyya, transubstantial motion.
Motion in the substance itself.
Yes. He argues that the soul isn't an external thing that enters the body. Rather, the material body itself, through constant inherent internal transformation, this Harakat al-Jawhariyya evolves and develops until it reaches the threshold of spirituality, becomes capable of awareness.
Wait, so the body becomes spiritual, it doesn't just receive spirit?
Exactly. That's the core of Jismaniyat al-Huduth, Ruhaniyat al-Baqa. Material in its origin, but spiritual in its subsistence or continuation.
Wow.
The material itself develops what he calls tarawo, spirituality. It blossoms from within.
So even the simplest act, like an infant first seeing light or feeling touch, that's not the soul logging in, it's the matter itself reaching a level where it is spiritual awareness emerging.
That's the implication. It connects beautifully, actually, with the Quranic verse about emerging from the womb, la ta'lamuna shay'an, knowing nothing. You start purely material, and through this inherent motion, this development, the capacity for knowing for spirit emerges from that matter.
Mind blown.
Yes.
Okay. The substance itself transforms. That changes everything.
It really does.
So let's go back then to section 4 and the original paradox. Fauna, annihilation. If my self-awareness, which emerged from my body, is my link to the absolute, why on earth would I want to annihilate it? It sounds like spiritual suicide now.
Right, it sounds even worse. But again, Sadra's point is subtle. The fauna he speaks of isn't the destruction of your actual consciousness, your awareness.
It's not.
No, it's an epistemological annihilation. It's a destruction of a false belief about the self.
Okay, destroying a belief, which belief? What's the illusion we need to shatter?
It's the belief in the ultimate reality, the ocelot of the ego, the false self, what you might call the ana or ananiya.
Yeah.
More specifically, it's giving ocelot ultimate authenticity or reality to the kayad.
The kayad, what's that exactly?
The kayad is the limitation, the boundary, the condition, the definition. It's the specific shape the wave takes, distinct from the ocean.
So my job title, my bank account, my social status, my fears, those are all kayad.
Precisely. They're temporary conditions, limits. They are borrowed ariya, as he puts it. They define a temporary shape, but they aren't the underlying substance.
And the fundamental mistake, the thing fauna targets, is believing that this temporary shape, this kayad, is my ultimate real self, my asalad.
Exactly. If you believe your job title is your ultimate reality, then losing your job feels like annihilation because you mistook the limit for the limitless.
I see. So fauna isn't destroying the wave, it's realizing the wave was never separate from the ocean to begin with. It's seeing through the illusion of the boundary as the ultimate thing.
It's a kind of profound intellectual honesty. You stop identifying solely with the limit, the kayad, and you recognize that its entire existence, its reality, depends completely on the boundless absolute, the mutlaq, which is the wujud.
That actually makes the paradox dissolve. Annihilation isn't destruction, it's liberation from a false identification.
That's the goal. It's seeing the bigger picture of which you are an inseparable part.
Okay, so section 5 then. How do we actually do this? How do we achieve, and maybe more importantly, maintain this liberated perspective? It sounds like something you could glimpse but easily lose sight of.
It's definitely an ongoing process, a path. Sadra emphasizes the need for an integrated approach, using both ukul, reason, and ikul, which is often translated as faith, but maybe commitment is closer here.
Reason and commitment, how do they work together? What does reason do?
Ukul reason is the indispensable guide. It's what prevents us from getting stuck.
Yeah.
From intellectual freezing, what he called jum, sticking to dogma without understanding why. Reason has to be sharp, free, constantly piercing through appearances analyzing the Kayad for what it is.
So reason helps us cut through the illusions, see the limits as limits, and potentially grasp the nature of the absolute beyond them.
Yes. And then ikum, commitment, comes in. Iman is about binding the heart, directing your ultimate concern and reliance towards a single object.
So reason vets the object. It makes sure you're not binding your heart to the wrong thing.
Critically important. Reason must ensure that the heart binds itself only to the mutlaq, the absolute reality, the wujud.
Because if your heart's ultimate commitment is tied to a kayad, your wealth, your status, even a limited idea of God,
Yeah.
then you're essentially practicing a form of polytheism. You're giving ultimate value to a limitation.
That's exactly the danger Sadra warns against. Giving ultimate allegiance to anything less than the ultimate reality is a fundamental error. So reason guides, commitment binds, and they have to work together constantly. It's an endless journey.
An endless journey.
Sadra had a quote about the seeker, the salik, something like, if the traveler is equal to reason, the ocean of gnosis has no shore. Lisa Solin. The journey is infinite because the reality you're exploring is infinite.
Wow. So wrapping this all up, Mulla Sadra takes this intimidating idea of self-annihilation and completely reframes it. It's not about ceasing to exist.
Not at all.
It's about liberation. It's about realizing through reason and commitment that the limited self, the mask, the role you thought was you, was just a temporary expression of something infinitely larger.
Exactly. It's a call to really audit where we place our ultimate value to make sure this knowledge we're discussing doesn't just stay as, interesting concepts.
Right. It needs to shift our perspective in daily life, which leads us perfectly to our final provocative thought for you, the listener. Based on everything we've explored today about Sadra's ideas, where in your own life, right now, might you be mistakenly granting ocelot ultimate reality and authenticity to a kayad, to some temporary limit, condition, or role?
What mask, what boundary needs to be intellectually seen through, perhaps even annihilated in your understanding, to grasp the boundless reality, the wujud, that lies beneath it all?
Something to definitely reflect on.
Indeed. Thank you for joining us on this quite challenging but hopefully rewarding deep dive into Mulla Sadra.
We hope you continue the journey with us.